reporting and finding out really what's going on with people after vaccinations. There's no calls by any provider to patients who've had vaccines to do a proper surveillance. And as a result, we're now getting many of these things, we're being tipped off from overseas reports as opposed to our own.
Why do you think there is not a...
Your gift will be matched, and you'll actually...
Hi, I'm Jane King, and thank you for watching. This show is all about public, private, and blockchain companies. We bring you the innovators behind the companies making the headlines in that space. Some are sponsored, some are invited, all are curated and focused on telling you, the viewers, their story. Here we go. Computer hacks have gotten a lot of attention lately, but one company has the technology, an independent platform that may be able to help prevent some of these. And with me to explain more about this is Ilan Gyahi, who is the CEO of GlobalX Data. So great to have you with us.
Great to have you, Jane, and hello to everybody who's watching us.
Yes, so if you could just explain, because of course we went through the Colonial Pipeline situation, there seems like there's a hack, every week. Explain what your company does and how it is different than some of the technology platforms that we're seeing right now.
Sure. So gladly, we are a Swiss-based technology company. I'm from Switzerland myself. We do have operations and a publicly traded company in Canada. And in the US, we have our subsidiary as well. We trade under ticker SWISF. What we do is we developed a suite of communication tools, such as email, messaging, backup, and file share under the brand Sekur or Secure Safe. So what Secure does, spelled S-E-K-U-R, what we do is we developed a proprietary email system and a proprietary messaging system with privacy and security in mind. Our advantage are the following. For example, we don't use big tech platform, so we're not on Amazon Web Service, we're not on Google or Microsoft Cloud. We've never developed under those platforms. That makes us independent in terms of privacy and also less prone to hacking because we have never developed our code in open source. So that's kind of one of the advantages. And all our data is stored in Switzerland, which gives you the strictest data privacy laws in the world. So if you were a business or somebody who doesn't want to have your data mined, because we don't do data mining at all, you would use maybe secure mail as opposed to Gmail or Office 365. And then definitely you don't want to use WhatsApp when you conduct business. You want to use secure messenger. That's pretty much what we do.
Very interesting. Tell me a little bit about you, your history, and what drew you to privacy.
So I am from Switzerland as well. Swiss people are very private. It's a nature. It's in our DNA. It's in the Constitution. I've had personal experiences with privacy breach. So it kind of drove me into developing these solutions for people who really need some protection. because our data is out there and is for sale all the time, there's no service you can go to. I mean, I'm even afraid of giving my email. We all have maybe a couple sets of email, one for the mailing list when you sign up for something, and then you want to have your private email. But what we don't realize is all those other email services, they data mine you. So I wanted to offer, basically, we wanted to be the privacy king when it comes to your data and communication. Mm-hmm. So we developed the system about 8-10 years ago in Switzerland, and then we started to push internationally. We have a couple of telecom operators as partners. America Movil, owned by the Carlos Slim and his family. They have about 300 million subscribers based in Mexico. And then we just signed a deal with Axiata Group, which is the largest South Asian telecom operator. And, we're growing the business like that because privacy and security are becoming a big concern. And, I'll address these hacking. The basic concept of how come we hear about all these hacks and email phishing and so forth. The problem is that the big companies, the big three or the big five, you used to have the big three in the auto industry. Now you have the big five in data and digitization. You have Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, Google, Facebook Group, which is WhatsApp as well. Mm-hmm. So what they do is they make a lot more money on data mining your data. And it's not like, when you hear about a hacking, it's not like a company is trying to hack you. A company will buy your data. Their priority is to exploit that data within less than 30 days or it becomes stale, and they don't really protect it. And then you have a hacker hacking that business, let's say, that needed to, target you for something. And that's how our data gets leaked out. It may or may not be directly Facebook or Google or Microsoft, even though they also have their breach, but it's all the other companies that buy your data that don't protect it. Yeah. So it's really like a tornado upon another tornado, and it just never stops. Hacking and breaches are not going to stop. They're going to increase. I don't know if some of us know this, but data breach costs the global economy over $6 trillion US a year in lost income or damages. So that's a pretty big economic damage.
It's huge. Yes, absolutely. And I believe it, actually, because I cover a lot of these things. So now you earlier closed your offering. Can you explain a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so we did go public in July 2019. In Canada, then we went listed in 2019, October, in the OTCQB under SWISF. And then we just completed actually our third and final retail offering. We have about close to $5 million Canadian, $4 million in the bank, no debt. No convertible, so we're in a very enviable cash position. We have a couple of overseas funds that are also looking at injecting more money. What we're going to do with this is we have a huge U.S. launch coming up. We believe that the U.S. really is a big market for us, and there's no solution like ours. So we raised $2.2 million, 2 million U.S. essentially last week. We closed with a bunch of overseas strategic investors, and now we closed the retail funding. We're open now to institutions. So the other thing I wanted to mention back to our solution, we're the only company that doesn't ask for your phone number when you sign up for the app. So, you would go to secure.com, you buy the solution, because you cannot buy it directly on App Store. You have to buy it from us first, and you download the apps, and then you don't give your phone number. That's also the most prominent way how you're going to get hacked on your device. We also don't upload your address book all of a sudden. Some of us may have switched from Facebook to Signal in the last few months, and if you're on Signal, you may notice sometime an alert that one of your friends on your address book is on Signal. So there's zero privacy. They're telling you that they're on the other application now. And that's because everything runs on this system of you give us your phone number, then we have your data, We can track you. We have all your address book as well, and we can track them. So that's very unique. We're also the only system in the world that lets you message a non-secure user. So if you're a realtor, for example, I mean, there was a breach recently on a huge mortgage broker. So if you're a realtor and you have some clients and you want to email them and chat with them without using WhatsApp, you can chat with them without them having to download our app at all, and then you can terminate the conversation on a self-destruct timer when it's all done. So I think those are very unique features of our solution.
Now, you mentioned Switzerland, and you have your private servers in Switzerland, right? So that is helping protect privacy. And can you explain how that works?
Sure. So the first thing we need to know is we are on our own infrastructure. If you are in Switzerland and you're using AWS, Amazon Web Service, who happens to be in the same data center company where we are, or Microsoft or Google, you are not protected by Swiss law necessarily, because the Cloud Act, which is a US law, dictates that no matter where your data resides, if you're using a US technology service or platform, you are basically prone to subpoena and your data is duplicated in the US. Because we're not on those platforms, we own our own servers. We rent space co-location in the data centers that houses the United Nations, the World Health Organization, the big banks, and we comply with Swiss law. And because we have our own thing, we don't need to have the Cloud Act. So the Swiss data protection laws are the strictest in the world. I mean, it's a penal crime to divulge your IP address without your consent. It's very, very strict in Switzerland. So you have the legal protection, the platform protection, our proprietary technology, and then these privacy by design, we call it, like self-destruct timer, deleting to bare metal. So when you go on WhatsApp and you say, delete the message for me, it's not really deleted on their server. They already data mined you. We don't do any data mining whatsoever, none. We don't even have cookies on our website. So we make money the old-fashioned way in Switzerland by charging you money. You know, this is how banks make money too. They still do that in Switzerland, believe it or not. There's no free anything in Switzerland. And it's the same thing for your data. If you want protection, in the old days, you used to put your money in Switzerland before the international exchange rules came in 2018, and nobody even knew you existed. This is the same thing here. If you want your data private, you come to Sekur. You pay us $10 a month for an email and a messaging app with 100 gigabytes of the best multi-redundancy storage. All the features you can imagine. Our Secure Send feature that lets you send an email to anybody in the world without having any kind of prying eye on it. I mean, we have some really cool features. And you pay us $10 a month, and that's it. Yeah. The Messenger is launching next week at $30 a year or $3 a month. We may do some promotional campaign for $20 a year. I mean, who doesn't want to have their conversation a little bit protected and private? So yes, we charge money, but you know that we're not going to data mine you at all.
Looking forward to more conversations. Thank you so much, Sean, for coming.
Thank you,
and we'll get updates soon.
Thanks, everyone, for watching.
Petproducts.com. Thousands of products. An Al Simon Wee Wee Pad Inventor Company. Clickstream provides a wealth of information and data that was unavailable just 4 years ago. And with me, CEO Frank Magliochetti to explain what Clickstream is all about, and then we'll go into some more detail about what the company is doing. So, Frank, can we start with an overview of Clickstream?
Sure. Good morning, Jane. So Clickstream is a publicly traded company on the OTC, and basically we're a provider of mobile apps and digital platforms. We essentially either create these apps ourselves or we're opportunistic. We go out and we acquire them from startups or individuals. But usually on the acquisition side, we buy them very early in development. And once they come into our entity, we create value by putting them through our process. And so we incubate these apps, these digital platforms, and as you incubate, you nurture, you develop, and in that sequence, you're creating value.
Okay.
So we're a value creation entity.
Okay. And that's where you gather the data that the apps collect and use for sales or marketing or whatever. Okay.
Yeah. So just a comment, just a moment on that, Jane. So basically, we aggregate data to better drive what we're trying to achieve. And that is engagement into our apps and stickiness, right? We want people to come to the app, and then we want them to stay on the app, and we want them to play on the app a lot. So those two things are important to us.
Okay. Now, there's an app, HeyPal, and is that a new app, and will be launching soon? Can you explain what HeyPal is?
Sure. We're very excited about HeyPal at Clickstream. We acquired the concept about 6 or 7 months ago, and we put it into our development process, and we hope to launch it, and we're very confident that we're going to launch it in June of this year worldwide. We're currently soft launched in about 20 countries, and we'll worldwide launch that in June. So let me tell you a little bit about HeyPal, because it's very disruptive to the language learning segment. So as you know, if you want to learn a language, it's basically either you go to class or it's on your computer, and it's very static learning. You know, good morning, good evening, how are you? And it's memorizing phrases and dialogues. What we've done to disrupt that is we're really the Facebook for language learning. So HeyPal, the backbone of HeyPal, is actually a social network. And we've developed technology within that social network that allows you to communicate around the world with anybody that wants to learn a language. So let's just say you live in Spain, I live in the US, and I want to learn Spanish and you want to learn English. We develop a dialogue. It's very dynamic and it's engaging, right? It's interactive. So it's almost, if you think about immersion learning, you're doing that through your social media. So we're talking that it's translating my language into your language into my language. And I'm learning as we're communicating. And we can do it one-on-one. We could have 5 people. We can chat. We can video. So it really turns the language learning business upside down. We see ourselves in schools, where it augments the current curriculum. You join HeyPal and develop a pen pal in Italy and teach, them English, you Italian. And so it's exciting for us. It's very exciting.
Yeah. Now, is it text only, or is there actual video, audio that helps you learn as well? Okay.
Yes. So version 1 is coming out in June, and soon to follow in the early fall is version 2. We are packed with features in both of these. In the fall, we're going to unveil a significant technological breakthrough for language learning using our app. So we're very excited. And this is the first case where we've actually taken a concept, put it into our program development, and we've actually launched a product. And so it's very significant for our company. And I want you to know that every single employee of Clickstream is a shareholder.
Oh,
so we're So we're very shareholder centric here at Clickstream. We want to create value for the shareholders.
Well, you mentioned that, and then we also talked a little bit about the business model right off the top. Anything you want to add to it as well? What your economic model is?
Yeah. So I think it's important to understand that the first part of our program is engagement. We need to understand how to engage, how to get users to engage. And we spend a lot of time understanding the data analytics, what attracts people to our site. Specifically, you come on, Jane, we want to try to understand what things that you would like to see specifically from our site. So that gives us engagement. Then stickiness. We want to make sure that you come back. And so again, we have to analyze the data to find out what keeps you on the site. So once we find out what engages you, what keeps you coming to the site, then we're able to go to advertisers or go to a pay to play model. So it's engagement, stickiness, then revenue. And so we have an app called WinQuick, and we're now at the revenue stage. We're now going to begin to look for ways to generate revenue, which we have a bucket of ideas around that, and we're exploring it. And soon there'll be revenue in that entity. So yeah, that's our economic model for HeyPal.
Okay, so there's something else called Nifter. Is that also an app? And tell me about when that will launch.
Again, Nifter was an acquired asset where it plays in the NFT space. And it was fundamentally really just a small startup company. They hadn't even started programming yet, but we love the concept. And the concept is a marketplace for NFTs. If you think about eBay, and our ecosystem is music and music-related items. So we've created Nifter, a marketplace for NFTs associated with music. We use the Ethereum blockchain. And so what our basic value proposition is, this is a safe place for you to sell your NFTs, right? So this, and because NFTs is very new, people are selling them and commerce is taking place, at Nifter that your NFT is going to be held in our crypto safe, and there will be derivative selling. So you come up with you're a rock star and you come up with an album cover that you want to create an NFT. You put it on our marketplace, you sell it there, and then it goes into our safe to the new buyer. Then that buyer may choose to sell it. It's still in our safe. He sells it or she sells it to somebody else. It stays in our safe. So we're really the repository for these NFTs. And we believe that's the safest place to be relating to an NFT. We don't want to create NFTs. We believe someday that it may look differently, but the marketplace will be constant. And so that's why we play there.
Yeah, interesting. And Nifter, the name kind of fits with NFTs now that you've explained what it is all about. So are there any other areas that you're exploring at Clickstream for apps or digital platforms?
Yeah, so yes, there is an area that is very interesting to us. We've done a lot of research, a lot of data gathering, and we believe early learning is the place that we want to play. From the age from 5 to 10, we believe is a ripe environment for an app. And it's basically, if you think about an app to educate kids from 5 to 10 and take them through a sequence of learning about a certain subject. And it'd be a fun subject, right? It would be something that is engaging enough where they'll come back and keep playing. And that'll be our first, when we launch, it'll be our first pay-to-play app.
Okay, very interesting. It's an interesting business model, and certainly a growing area. I mean, with data, and they say data is oil, so you're right in the middle of it. So thank you so much. It was great to join us and hear about Clickstream.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jane.
Petproducts.com. Thousands of products. An Al Simon Wee Pad Inventor Company. The pet industry is growing by leaps and bounds, literally. And with so many choices online, petproducts.com is emerging as one of the trusted names in the business. So joining me is Kevin Yamano, the EVP of petproducts.com, Executive Vice President. So great to have you, Kevin. Great to see you.
Thanks for having me back. Yes.
Okay, so you've been online for about 2 years, but you've just really been involved in the pet industry. I mean, for a long time, since what, 70s, 80s, something like that. So can you give us a history of Pet Products?
Sure. Pet Products and our CEO, Al Simon, has been involved in so many different aspects of the pet business. And even as an entity, petproducts.com really has been working for consumers for a long time, almost 7 years now, and bringing relevant content. We worked on communities, so we showed people where they can go to get their local services, where their local businesses were, and now we're in the pet space. So even though there's a lot of kind of emerging companies, we've really been in this a very long time, helping consumers to find what they need.
Well, I think what's so neat about it is you really kind of got your base there, like in terms of that, helping customers, talking to them, front line, dealing with customers. And now you're kind of taking that, you're scaling it. Whereas I feel like a lot of big e-commerce companies never really had that customer connection.
And we were helping people to find what they needed. They come to us and say, where can I find this? Where can I find that? And we didn't have a good solution for them, and we always would send them somewhere else. And now when they come, we're like, you can just buy it from us. And we make it very convenient for people to do that.
Yeah. Now, you're in this space, but you clearly have plans for growth as well. So can you expand on that?
Yeah. So it's hard to tell the size of a company online from just the first page that you land on. But Pet Products is really continuing to grow. We have almost over 20,000 SKUs in our system. So if you can imagine a big box warehouse retailer with a little footprint, that's exactly what we have. So we have products across all the different categories: food, treats, beds, training devices, accessories, anything that you can think of for your pet, whether it be a dog or cat, but also all the aquatic stuff you need to set up your tanks, maintain your tanks, and birds and small animals. Really, it's a one-stop shop for any kind of pet that you have.
Mm-hmm. And then how are you helping people transition from that in-store experience to online? I mean, do you find that people are doing both, or are they shifting more to online, or what's the customer thinking?
One of the concerns people have when they come online is, what kind of experience I'm going to have? What happens if I have questions? How do I get that personal experience online? And that's really where we try to bridge the gap for customers and give them so many different options to ask questions, to get their, to come in and just understand what it is that they're getting. Even if the description is not clear, get clarification on that. So we have so many different ways for people to engage with us. They can call us, they can email us, they can chat with us right when they're on the page. So we can see what they're looking at, and we can talk about it and give them the answers that they need. So really, for us, it's about providing that same level of customer service that you would expect or that you would get when you walk into a store, just from the comfort of your own home.
Mm-hmm. And then people who would like to try it, there is a coupon for them, right?
Yes, absolutely. For your viewers out there, we have a coupon, 10% off for your order. We'd love to have you come and try Pet Products, see our selection, see what we have, see how convenient it is for you, and how different we are from a lot of the other sites that are out there. So the coupon is Spring TV, SPRING TV. You put that in the checkout. There's a little coupon box there for you, and we'll give you 10% off for your viewers.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kevin, for the update, and we'll look forward to more this year.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jane.
Petproducts.com. Thousands of products. An Al Simon Wee Pad Inventor Company. SoMe is a social media site that pays creators for their content. So with me is the an influencer, the head of influencer partnerships, Brad Frank, and then also Ashwin Soma, who is a operations manager at CardStarter. So let's start with you, Ashwin. Just explain what CardStarter is and how it fits into the whole SoMe business model.
Absolutely. So CardStarter is essentially the first decentralized launchpad for Cardano. And that's kind of a mouthful, but really what it does is it helps projects that are up and coming, especially when it comes to blockchain technology, and it makes sure that it can get them a good community to bootstrap their project as it's starting out. It makes sure that it can get the appropriate raise and the funds that it needs and the connections that it needs in the space to succeed. Now, what's great about SoMe, to segue into them, is they already have a lot of this done. The benefit there is we're just really helping them kind of perfect and tweak a little bit of their model to make sure that they have the best foot forward, but they already have a wonderful project. So I'd let Brad take it away.
Okay, so let's talk to Brad. So tell me a little bit about where SoMe is. I've talked to some of the influencers on there in the past. How does that stand, and what are you doing to try to kind of build those influencer partnerships and help them grow?
Sure. Thank you, Jane. Well, as you know, SoMe, we're at the culmination of approximately 8 years of development, with the last 2 in beta, which has been extremely successful. In terms of onboarding influencers, this process has really required us to help influencers unlearn what they know about social media to a degree. As you know, the model is social media redefined, privatization, monetization of your content, things of that nature. And, the challenge is always articulating to a influencer culture that has kind of been bred and born on the point, click, pay for click environment. And this is much, much, much more. I mean, by this platform combining elements of mainstream social media and blockchain, we've actually evolved into a whole lot more than we had anticipated. And not only, are we selling this to the influencer as a game-changing platform that supports social media activity and content, but also looking at it as an ecosystem. Mm-hmm. And one of the driving forces is that, as we had talked about earlier, Jane, there's definitely a new normal now. And for those people that consider themselves influencers, whether they're a micro influencer, a major macro influencer, so on and so forth, with, millions or tens of millions of followers, they always have to be ahead of the curve, because that's, how they make their money. Being able to find new ways and innovative ways to monetize their brand. Well, we found that we've been picking up a great deal of our trajectory is really, really in a good place right now. And we've been, the responses to SoMe have been extremely positive. From my perspective, the challenge and what myself and Kelly Planzo are tasked with is really educating the influencer and really kind of unveiling to them a platform that produces multiple streams of revenue and monetization for them.
Very interesting. So Ashwin, talk a little bit about the IDO process. First of all, what is IDO and what is the process that SoMe is going through with you, right?
Absolutely. So, people all know what an IPO is, I'd like to think. And then in 2017, we have ICOs, and it's essentially an initial decentralized exchange offering. So as we evolve, we realize that it's not just the big boys and girls in Wall Street that, get to invest in these projects as they're exciting. We want it to be as decentralized as possible, meaning everyone, retail investors, folks at home on their smartphones, they should be able to invest in exciting projects such as, for example, SoMe, a social media platform that rewards influencers and rewards users and make sure that advertising revenue actually goes to the user and the influencer as opposed to the company itself. I mean, projects like that make a lot of sense. And why should that not be something that everyone has the ability to invest in? So that's essentially what an IDO is. It's ensuring that folks that are interested in such projects can actually invest early on. Obviously, the biggest thing for us is we make sure that we are completely 100% compliant with SEC regulation to make sure that all the folks that are involved are doing so in a manner that's know your customer, or KYC, and that they're all upfront, and that everything is by the book, which kind of can create some red tape, but we're more than happy to do that because that's really what we believe in. And it makes sure that everyone can participate in exciting projects like SoMe in a safe, but also an equitable manner. So it's not just folks that have connections, but rather anyone in the space that can pick up a smartphone. Yeah. And that's what we, aim to do.
And Brad, I mean, that's a key part of SoMe, and even blockchain in general, is allowing people to participate more in the financial system than what we have seen in the past. So is that SoMe's long-term vision? I mean, I know it is, but can you go into a little more detail about that?
Sure. One of the things that, and again, partnerships with companies such as Ashwin's are vital in moving us to the next level, to be able to truly be a global force.
Thank you so much. It's great to get an update from SoMe and see things progressing well. So thank you, Ashwin, and also Brad, for joining us.
Thank you, James.
Petproducts.com. Thousands of products. An Al Simon Wee Pad Inventor Company. Pharmagreen Biotech is specializing in tissue culture starter plantlet production. And so with me is the CEO, Peter Wojcik, to explain exactly what that means. So Peter, I guess just give me an overview. What is Pharmagreen all about?
Yes, Pharmagreen, we're a highly specialized biotech company where we developed proprietary processes to produce starter plantlets for overall the agriculture sector, predominantly the cannabis industry.
Okay. Now you are CEO of the company, or are you a founder? Can you give me some of your background?
Yes, I am the founder as well as the CEO of the company. And what got me involved in this company to get it started, my background is I come from a medical family background, father still practicing cardiologist. Unfortunately, mother contracted stage 4 cancer about 15 years ago, which led me to the development of cannabis extracts, capsulating them and treating the disease. We successfully put her in remission, which started me into the path of getting further involved in this industry and helping individuals.
Interesting. So you have a personal angle here. I mean, was your mother helped by cannabis?
Yes, she was. Actually, the extracts did put her in remission for well over 12 years. The cancer came back. It was spread quite well. But we did, over the last decade, have done on a philanthropic effort to help people and to study the efficacy and dosages as cannabis relates in helping people who are diagnosed with stage 4 cancer.
Okay. Well, I understand that Pharmagreen Biotech is in the business of providing high-quality starter cannabis plantlets. We talked a little bit about this in the intro through the proprietary tissue culture process, Chibafreen. Am I saying that right? And can you explain what that means?
Yes, Chibafreen was developed by Dr. Fazia Afreen. The process is brand new to the tissue culture industry. Tissue culture has been around for 40 years, but the innovations that we're doing in the what's called the micropropagation, or the making of the starter plantlets, traditionally a 4-step micropropagation process, Dr. Fazia Afreen developed a process where we can do it in 3 stages. What does that mean? It simply means we can produce more plantlets in less space, less time, and therefore at a much more efficient cost basis.
Okay, so that's just the thing. It makes the process much more efficient to help with the business.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And why is tissue culture better than farmers just using seeds or clones?
Tissue culture is it's a scientific process, whereas seeds, if you grow the seeds, they're all never the same. There is a genetic, what we refer to as genetic drift when you're developing seeds. With clones, they are done in the greenhouse type matter, and their basically cloning method is taking the tips of a living plant material and taking the tips. A good analogy is like cut yourself once it hurts, cut yourself 500 times and you'll go into septic shock. Well, the same thing occurs to living plant. Tissue culture is done with zero stress factors because it's done in a clean room lab environment, and therefore whether you make one or two of them, they're all, or a trillion of them, they're always the best genetics that science can provide.
Then how many of these starter plantlets can you produce and sell in the biotech complex that you're building?
We can produce hundreds of thousands of plantlets, and we also build the facility in such a way that it's scalable. So as the demand grows, we can grow with the demand and provide much larger supply.
Okay. And then what other things might you use the biotech complex for?
Well, the biotech complex isn't only just for tissue culture production as a facility. We also have other proprietary technologies. A very important one to mention is the live storage of plant strains. So we can put the plant species in kind of an indefinite suspended growth state using the tissue cultures in cold temperatures. So this allows us a brand new service to the industry where we can store indefinitely individual surprise strains that they've developed as well.
Okay. And then also, I mean, I understand you're going to be doing a capital raise for the company. So what do you plan to do with that money? Do you have a target amount that you're looking for?
Yes, we're looking to raise $15 million. The first $5 million is slated towards the acquisition of the asset, enhancement of that existing asset, and the $10 million is slated towards the production of the biotech complex, where our initial stage of development is to develop an extraction facility so we can process some of the raw hemp biomass into high quality CBD oils in the first year, as well as to start the initial production of the tissue cultures for duplication and sale in year 2.
And then where can viewers learn more about the project?
The best to learn about our project would be on pharmagreen.ca, our website, as well as the social media channels that we just started to actively work on so we can spread the message more direct and faster to our shareholders.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Peter. Best of luck.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. Have a great day.
Petproducts.com. Thousands of products. An Al Simon Wee Wee Pad Inventor Company. NativeCoin is a sovereign cryptocurrency for sovereign nations, which is a huge industry. In fact, $35 billion in gaming revenue, food processing, fuel, and energy. And I have with me today a new member of the NativeCoin team. This is JC, and the First Nations Mohawk from the Akwesasne Mohawk Reserve. Did I get that pronounced right?
Yes, Jen, you did it perfectly.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So, and you were just awarded Breakout Artist of the Year at the Indigenous Peoples Hip Hop Music Awards. So, congratulations for that. And tell me a little bit about that and what brought you to NativeCoin.
Thank you. Yes, you know, with so much going on in the world, you know, it's nice to have a little bit of light. And so, you know, it's really amazing to be able to look forward to beautiful things like this. And in the process of me working on, you know, trying to promote my award nomination and just get out there further in the world, I've been interested in the cryptocurrency and the NFT world with my art. And I stumbled on Wendy O and some of her podcasts, and that introduced me to NativeCoin. And I'm like, whoa, there's already a native coin in the market. And so right away that intrigued me to, dig more and get involved, because, that's something that would, help the future of, indigenous peoples.
Yeah. So what is new with NativeCoin?
Oh, there's, right now there's so much going on in the works, and, with the new website up and everything pushed in order right now, they're getting ready. You can go on the website at native-coin.com and you can, be involved in the pools and the staking that's going on to, be not only to build, the entity itself, but, give yourself a building in the cryptocurrency world, so that allows holders to, be able to, get a little gain in the beginning, as well as, the whole big picture of NativeCoin.
Yeah. Well, and one thing that I thought was really interesting application was the NFTs in this whole ecosystem, because that's a perfect application of an NFT. I mean, it authenticates the product. It allows the creator to make some money. I mean, are you working with NFTs and NativeCoin, or how does all that work?
Yeah, so, NFT is such a new field, and, it's in the beginning, infant stages. And, me as a person that believes in a lot of things into the future and cryptocurrency as well, that I see non-fungible tokens becoming one of the main forms of cryptocurrency to allow the artist and, the everyday person to be able to share their art skills, even when it comes to, cooking or beading, and many of these things can be turned into NFTs, non-fungible tokens. And in turn, you can see something for your art. And so that's another thing that I'm really interested in NativeCoin, because they're currently working on an NFT platform to where you can trade and, barter and sell your product to anybody in the world. So I'm really excited for that. And I can't wait for that to push forward.
No, I think it's awesome. I mean, you're right. I mean, the market expands immensely because you can sell it. And then the creator gets money each time that is sold. So it's a very different way of doing things. And, there's some people who think like the casinos and the tribes are very wealthy, but that is not always the case, right? Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Right. You had mentioned earlier, it's a $36 billion industry. And in the aspect, if you look at that in the percentage of the world, that's very minuscule. And that mostly that percentage pertains to casinos and, major gaming in that aspect. But, the general population and a good majority of the tribes, they, don't have clean water or good living. And, we're dealing with a very high number of missing and murdered indigenous women and men and Two-Spirit. And, so that's something that is at the front of the heart. And to, be able to find something or see something that might shine a light to give us all the access to be able to, to help change those type of things, that's what intrigued me the most with this.
Okay. And then in terms of like anything else you can share with us about NativeCoin and the whole industry?
Well, like I said, I see that this is only in the beginning stages, and there's so many more aspects and ways that this can go, and I'm just glad to, have, the universe had aligned me with NativeCoin, and, just stumbling on it through Wendy O had been an amazing thing that day. And since then, it has allowed me to dig in more and understand that, there is so much that can be done with a sovereign currency, and to be able to give that access to the people and allow that monetary value to grow throughout with investments from not only each other, but the outside world, that can help change, the whole economic system of what's going on within any tribal community. So, and as an artist myself, I'd like to see, those things going forward. I have many projects coming out, like, getting ready to work on a few things, but there's so many things that this, the NativeCoin and cryptocurrency could be attached to, like when you're, releasing an album, or again, putting out some beadwork, or you would like to, sell some native handcrafted clothing, and, anybody can purchase this from anywhere in the world. And that's what, gets me again, excited about this.
Yeah, no, it's really, there's a lot of exciting possibilities. So now there's the RES conference coming up in Las Vegas, right? So, and that's going to be exciting because the conferences are just now starting to happen again. So I'm sure a lot of people want to get out. I'm sure Las Vegas is loving having you all go. I mean, can you explain a little bit what you expect to happen there?
Oh man, especially with what was going on, and this would be like sort of the first burst for people, you know, and we hope that, you know, everybody comes prepared and safe and you know, mask and you know, bring your sanitary items and keep your 6 feet apart. So that way, you know, we can continue to do things like this because, you know, bringing an event like this and then being able to be in Vegas. So it's NAGA and it's July 22nd and 23rd, I believe. And, you know, if you can come down, you can come meet us. You can also go to native-coin.com and sign up and you can get put on the VIP list. And, you know, myself will be there. We also have a lot of things, you know, I've been, as an artist myself, I've been in talks with them and I'm such a creative person that, you know, a lot has come from this. So me and the team are currently working on a few ththings right now that, you know, I don't want to spoil the beans too much, but this is you know, it's a good time and there's going to be a lot of things coming out. So if you come to Vegas and you can, you know, kind of ask us and maybe you get a sneak peek.
Yeah. Now, can you tell us about your new music project? And producer tells me you're working on a new project. Can you talk about that?
Yes. With Marcus, MC1, which is, he's been on your program a few times.
Oh, yeah.
And yes. And so he's one of the most talented Native Americans out here as well. And, you know, over the years, I've watched his journey and seen all the amazing accomplishments and to be able to work with him and talk with him recently through NativeCoin was, you know, monumental. And instantly the energy and what had come up with the creativity is like, when it comes to something like NativeCoin, you can see, you know, an easy future with that. So it's not hard to create something around that. So me and Marcus are currently in the works with something, MC1 and JOC coming soon.
Okay, well, we will look for that. You come back and share it with us. So I'd love to hear it and see what you guys are doing. Thank you so much, JOC. Best of luck in Las Vegas and I look forward to updates.
Thank you so much, Jane. And thank you everybody for listening. And JOC and NativeCoin to the moon, everybody. You have a great day.
Petproducts.com. Thousands of products. An Al Simon Wee Wee Pad Inventor Company. IXI Capital is back to explain more about the launch of their new coin, which is one of the big updates that we will have since we last spoke. So with me, Semi, and then also Doug Messer with the company. So welcome both of you. Good to see you again.
Good to see you. Pleasure seeing you again.
So,
Jane, how are you?
I'm good. So thank you. So Semi, let's start with you. So I know we talked a little bit about the coin ICO. So bring us up to date, because that's been a big development since we spoke last time.
Yes, we have all the geologists at the site right now. They're pinpointing all the places that we're going to send our caterpillars and also all the trucks to start extracting very soon. So we're super excited. And the other thing we forgot to mention last time was is like the ETF of metals we have. And the product that we have we're really proud of is really rhodium. Rhodium is right now selling at $29,000 an ounce, and it's becoming a very hot commodity because of the environmental controlists, and basically they use it for all car manufacturers. They use it in their catalog converters. And so it's the value is really high, and we just issued our coin. So Doug is the genius behind it, and it's called minetokens.io, where they can start purchasing it's a ICO, initial coin offering that we have done.
Okay, well, let's bring Doug in then. So
yes.
Created the coin, or kind of explain your role in all of this.
Absolutely. So I really worked with Ali and the team at IXI Capital to not only really help with the strategy behind behind the token economics that goes into developing an STO. Sorry to correct, but it is a securities token offering. But as Chief Strategy Officer, essentially I'm working on a daily basis to be really showcasing the STO opportunities to a variety of investors, given its base right here in the United States. It's a very exciting opportunity, and once the mine finishes phase one, we will soon be one of the top 3 largest producing mines in the United States.
Okay, so this is a token that is attached to the mine, which is actually producing rhodium.
Correct. And also, we give 10% interest per annum to all our clients, which we transfer it so all the shareholders, they'll be able to receive that in their account in form of cash or extra token that we can send to them. And it's going to be at a variety of exchanges. Right now, it's going to be on for next 30, 60 days is our ICO running. And after that, basically goes to the major exchanges.
Mm-hmm. Now, you raised $1 million pre-sold, right?
Right. Right now, we have a commitment for 1 million. We have another gentleman who's interested to invest 25 million. So we're quite excited to basically, we're seeing amazing results.
Mm-hmm. So what would the proceeds then be used for?
All for the mine at this moment. Of course, we have some, soft costs, but the majority of it is going to be 90% of it is going to be utilized for mining and facility. And we're planning to actually have a mini refinery at the job site as well. So that's our plan.
And with the use of proceeds, it really does help accelerate, obviously, the future value of the reserves are there. We've done, over 300 core samples over the 80 acres with really some of the top geologists in the world. And so the core value that can be extracted through an STO allows us to not only accelerate that opportunity, as Sally said, build on site a small refinery so we can be showcasing investors and other people that want to visit.
Interesting. So, Doug, can you elaborate on that a little bit more? Like, why should someone hold the token?
I absolutely would glad to. So, within the cryptocurrency space, there are a multitude of companies that will give you a small percent interest rate or dividend, but that requires you to actually hand over your tokens. They will either lend them out or they will hold them and essentially provide you a smaller percentage return based off them actually holding your coin. So in our model, we essentially act as a personal bank. You not only get to keep your asset, but by keeping that asset, it also provides to that person directly the dividend rather than having to go through traditional methods like compound or some of the others available online today.
So is that staking?
Not staking necessarily, but close.
Okay.
Staking would provide an additional benefit for the actual coin, where they would receive more of the coin. In our case, we are providing a actually USDT-based bonus. Dividend. That's paid out on an annual basis.
On an annual basis. Okay. Simi, can you talk about, inflation has been in the news a lot lately.
That's right. That's right.
Is this like a macroeconomic thing that you could really benefit from?
Absolutely, because, it's basically these minerals, the fluctuation of it is not going to be, as I said, the rhodium at this moment is going to be actually utilized. It's not like gold is a great asset to have, which we have our assets. We have plenty of gold and platinum, but it's really more of a deco.
Oh, wow. That's an interesting idea. So will you both come back once you get the sale going? And
exactly, we're quite excited.
Yeah,
we hope to have shot down at the mine to be able to show all your wonderful viewers what this
I would.
this operation
I've never
looks like.
been in a mine before, like a real mine. Like so.
That's right. This is so it's going to be exciting.
Yeah. Good luck. Well, thank you so much, and best of luck.
Thank you so much.
We'll catch up again soon.
Jane,
Have a
thank you so much for
fantastic
having
day.
us as always.
Closed captioning brought to you by Pray.com.